And now the third one is a look and feel observation. An applet should be less than 1027 pixels of wide and 768 pixel tall, and a dimension supported by most of the computer screens. Now I was discussing regarding the applet viewer terminates without indicating an error. Some web browsers simply ignore the incomplete applet element, but most of the browsers need this specific thing, and whenever it miss this tag, then we need to compulsory add this one, otherwise the browser doesn't support that one. Error prevention tip for us: if you receive a missing resource exception error, like basically whenever we are running a file, then it will show us a resource exception error message. When loading an applet into the applet viewer or a browser, check the applet tag in the HTML document carefully for syntax error. Whenever there is an applet tag missing in the HTML tag, then the browser will definitely show us a missing resource exception error. And in the error it will be showing such as commas between the attributes whenever an applet is missed. So we need to take care for that whenever we are writing an HTML document, or whenever we are running that one, we need to have a compulsory applet tag. Test your applets in the applet viewer before executing them in the web browser. Whenever we are executing in a web browser, before itself we need to check once in an applet viewer. Browsers often save a copy of an applet in a memory until all browsers windows are closed. If you change an applet, recompile it, and then reload it into your browser, the browser may still execute the same version of the applet. So in order to avoid this thing, the basic fundamental principle is to first we need to test applet viewer in the applet viewer only, in order to avoid the errors in a web browser. Then test your applet in every browser and in which they'll execute to ensure that they operate correctly. This line is telling us regarding that we need to compulsory check an applet in every web browser and in which they'll execute to ensure that they operate correctly. And checking in other browsers will definitely help us to run good our applications. So if your applet executes in the applet viewer but not in your web browser, Java may not install and configure from your browser. In this case, we need to visit java.com and download the free Java download button to install the Java for your computer. Whenever there is an applet missing in your computer, and we are running on a web browser, then it shows us that the applet is the Java is not installed in our system. In order to avoid that, we need to install the Java in our system and install for our web browser. And now, how to run an applet in a web browser? How to run an applet in a web browser? To execute an applet in Firefox. Perform the following steps. Like firstly we need to open a file. From the file menu, a simple dialog box will be open on the left hand side of the window and appears, and locate the directory containing the XHTML document. As we have discussed in a previous slide, it's mentioning the same thing, and how to run an applet in a web browser. For the applet to execute, by selecting the XHTML document, click the open button, then run the file. Check whether it is running an applet in a web browser properly or not. Now we are going to discuss applet lifecycle stages. There are five applet methods are called by the applet container. Applet is also called as an applet container from the time the applet is loaded into the browser to the time it is terminated by the browser. Before it is loading to the browser or is terminated by the browser. These methods correspond to various aspects of an applet lifecycle. Now, there are some five methods which we are going to discuss. Public void int. Public is a access specifier. Void is a return type. Init is a method. Init method is called once by the applet container. It is saying us that it will be called once in an applet container. When an applet is loaded for execution, this method initializes an applet. Typical actions performed here are initializing feeds, creating GUI component, loading sounds to play, loading images to display. Uh, Init function will help us to do these various things like creating a GUI components, loading sound, video, display the images, and creating the threads for the program. Now, when a public void and the same thing public void and start is a method. Start by name itself we can say it is saying that it is a starting a applet called by the applet container after method init completes execution. First it executes the init method, then start method is called after the completion of the init method. In addition, if the user browses to another website and later returns to the applet HTML page, method start is called again. The method performs any task that must be completed. HTML page is revisited. Actions performed here might include starting an animation or starting other threads of execution. And the third one is public void. Public void called by the applet container after method init and start is executed. It is mentioning that first init and start is executed. Then after that paint is called. Method paint is also called when applet needs to be repainted. For example, if the user covers the applet with another open window on the screen and later uncovers it, the paint method is called. Typical action performed here involve drawing with the graphics object G that passed to the method by the applet container. Public void stop. This method is called by the applet container whenever the user leaves the applet's web page by browsing to another web page. This method is called whenever a user is simply leaves the web page by browsing to another web page. Since it is possible that the user might return to the web page containing the applet, method stop performs tasks that might be required to suspend the applet execution so that applet does not use computer processing time. Typical actions performed here would stop the execution of animations and threads. Basically, this will allow us to stop the animations and threads. And public void destroy. In destroy method, this method is called by the applet container when the applet is being removed from the memory. Whenever the applet is removed from the storage or from the memory, then the method destroy will be called. This occurs when the user exits the browsing session by closing the browser window and may also occur at the browser's direction when the user has browsed to other web pages. The method performs any tasks that are required to clean up resources allocated to the applet. These were some of the five applet lifecycle methods. Now, some more programming error which we are going to discuss now. Declaring method init. Init is declaring methods init, start, paint, stop, or destroy with method headers that differs from the shown in the last figure. The code specified in our versions of the method will not execute. At override annotation can be applied to each method to prevent this problem. In order to override this uh, error which will occur in init, start, paint, stop, or destroy with method